Most people buy a new Toyota because they think it is the safest way to avoid financial pain. But the biggest cost of owning a new car is usually not fuel, insurance, or even repairs. It is depreciation, a loss that never arrives as a bill, yet can erase 30 to 50% of the car's value in 5 years. That creates an uncomfortable possibility. A used luxury car whose first owner already absorbed the collapse can sometimes cost less to own than a brand new Toyota. Today, we are testing 7 of them. For each one, you will see the ownership advantage, the failure point that can destroy the deal, and exactly which version to buy or avoid. And the first is a $90,000 flagship now competing with ordinary Toyota money. Car number 1. Genesis G90, 2017 to 2020. Start at the top with the Genesis G90 from 2017 to 2020, a full-size luxury flagship that shed value faster than almost anything in its class, which is exactly why it belongs here. Line it up against a new Toyota Crown, Toyota's most expensive sedan, which starts in the low 50s and is only beginning its drop. The G90 already took that hit. Depreciation data from IC Cars shows it losing roughly 52% of its value over 5 years, about half. So a flagship that stickered near $90,000 now trades for a fraction of that. The catch is real. Certain 3.3-liter turbo models fall under a recall for a turbo oil pipe that can leak, so you must confirm every recall is closed by VIN. Buy the 5.0-liter V8 with a clean recall record. Avoid a turbo car with no paperwork. Next, the SUV mechanics quietly buy for themselves. Before the next car, get the scoreboard straight, because we are not comparing stickers. Total cost of ownership stacks 6 things: depreciation, financing interest, insurance, maintenance, repairs, and what you get back when you sell. Depreciation we covered is usually the giant, but financing hides in plain sight too. Borrow $40,000 for a new car at today's rates, and the interest alone can run several $1,000s across a 5-year loan. Buy a $15,000 used car outright, and that entire line drops to zero. Insurance often follows value, so a cheaper car in a quieter bracket can shave a few hundred a year as well. Add those up and something strange happens. A luxury car with a slightly higher repair bill can still win the total, because one expensive repair is a single line item, while a steep new car loss is the whole column bleeding at once. That is the lens for all 7. Not what does it cost to buy, what does it cost to keep? Car number 2. Lexus GX 470, 2003 to 2009. Now the Lexus GX 470, built 2003 to 2009. Under the leather, it shares its body-on-frame platform and 4.7-liter V8 with the Toyota Land Cruiser Prado, so ordinary independent shops can service it, not just a luxury dealer. Put it next to a new Toyota 4Runner, its closest body-on-frame relative. The 4Runner is superb, but you are paying today's new price for the same basic recipe. The GX's 2UZ engine is widely documented reaching 300,000 miles with maintenance, and clean examples often sell in the low to mid-teens. The serious catch is the timing belt. It needs replacing around every 90,000 miles or 9 years, and neglecting it risks real engine damage. Buy one with belt and water pump receipts in hand. Avoid a high-mileage truck with no service history. Next, a sedan that starts saving you money before you even turn the key. And the GX exposes 2 costs almost nobody budgets for. The first is parts availability. When a luxury car shares its guts with a mass-market vehicle, its parts are made by the million, stocked everywhere, and priced for a Camry crowd, not a boutique dealer counter. When it does not, a single control module can cost more than the car is worth and take weeks to arrive. That gap does not show up on the window sticker, but it quietly decides your maintenance line for a decade. The second is opportunity cost. Every dollar frozen in a fast depreciating new car is a dollar that is not sitting in savings or anywhere else earning for you. Tie up $40,000 in something losing value by the week, and the loss is not just the depreciation, it is everything that money could have done instead. Cheaper metal with the same job frees that cash. Keep both in mind as the list gets stranger. Car number 3. Acura TSX, 2004 to 2008, CL9. The Acura TSX, first generation, 2004 to 2008. This one wins on the quiet lines of the budget. It is a Honda underneath, so parts are inexpensive and everywhere, and its understated badge tends to land in cheaper insurance brackets than flashier rivals. Against the new Toyota Camry, the contrast is blunt. IC Cars shows a new Camry losing about a third of its value in 5 years, settling near $19,000, while a clean, used TSX often sells for well under $10,000. 2 catches to check. The K24 engine can burn oil as it ages, so watch the level closely on a test drive. And there is a 2004 to 2008 recall for a power steering hose that can leak onto hot exhaust. Confirm both. Buy a documented car with that recall closed. Avoid one that drinks oil with no records. Next, the car that dodges the single repair that wrecks most budgets. And insurance is the line most people forget until the bill lands. It does not track horsepower or badge prestige as much as you would think. It tracks claims, theft rates, and repair cost. So a modest, common, cheap-to-fix car often sits in a gentler bracket than a flashier one worth the same money. Over 5 years, a few $100s a year of difference quietly becomes another car payment you never made. It will not headline any listing, and no salesperson will walk you through it, but it is a real slice of the total, and it tends to favor exactly the kind of understated used luxury car we keep landing on. Small line, real money every single year. Here is where most buyers get it backwards. They treat a used luxury badge as the risky choice and a new Toyota as the safe one. But on the total cost scoreboard, the disciplined move is often the used car, because someone else already ate the worst years of depreciation for you. The real risk was never the brand. It is buying the wrong example of it. A neglected luxury car with no records is a genuine money pit, and that is the trap the badge critics are actually pointing at, even if they blame the wrong thing. So the skill here is not avoiding these cars, it is screening them. Service history, a proper pre-purchase inspection, and closed recalls matter far more on a used luxury car than on an economy commuter, because the downside of guessing wrong is bigger. Think of it like buying a used house. You do not judge it by the paint, you read the inspection report. Do that, and the next 3 cars keep proving the point. Car number 4, Infiniti G37 Sedan, 2008 to 2013 V36. The Infiniti G37 Sedan, 2008 to 2013. Here the advantage is performance per dollar with sane running costs. Its 3.7-liter V6 makes around 330 horsepower. It is rear-wheel drive, and because it is Nissan underneath, parts and labor stay affordable. A new Toyota Camry is a fine, sensible car, but it will not hand you a rear-drive luxury sports sedan, and a clean used G37 often sits under $15,000. The known catch is specific. On 2009 and 2010 cars, the electronic steering column lock can fail and leave the car unable to start, a repair of roughly $1,200 with no official recall covering it. Buy a 2012 or 2013 or an earlier car with that lock already replaced or bypassed. Avoid a 2009 with no fix on record. Next, the family SUV that quietly undercuts a new Highlander. Car number 5, Acura MDX, 2014 to 2020, third generation. The Acura MDX, third generation, 2014 to 2020. Same 3-row family job as the Toyota Highlander, more standard luxury, and a much lower use price because it depreciated harder. Kelley Blue Book pegs a new Highlander's 5-year depreciation near $18,000, with a total 5-year cost to own around $58,000. A used 3rd-gen MDX gives you similar space and similar running costs for far less upfront. The catch is year-specific. The 2016 and 2017 MDX used a ZF 9-speed automatic with well-documented shift quality complaints, and some had a transmission warmer leak that could mix coolant and fluid. Buy a 2015 which kept the smoother 6-speed or a refined 2019 to 2020 car. Avoid a 2016 or 2017 without proof of the software updates and the warmer fix. Next, a luxury car that can still be under factory warranty when you buy it. Notice the pattern in those catches. Every car has one, and every single one is checkable before you hand over $1. That is the whole line between a used luxury bargain and a slow-motion disaster. Of the 6 cost categories, repairs are the one that can swing wildly, and the thing that controls that swing is not the brand on the grille, it is documentation. A car with a full service file and closed recalls has already told you in writing what it will and will not cost you. A clean-looking car with a blank history is a gamble dressed up as a deal. On these vehicles specifically, one skipped timing belt, one ignored recall, or one deferred suspension job can quietly erase the depreciation savings that earned the car its place on this list. So do not think of receipts as paperwork. On a used luxury car, the receipts are part of the price, and the car without them is never actually the cheaper one. Car number 6, Genesis G80, 2021 to 2022, second generation. The Genesis G80, second generation, 2021 to 2022. This one pulls a different lever entirely. Factory warranty. A 3-year-old G80 has already given up around 40% of its value per IC cars, so a car that's stickered in the high 50s can land in the mid-30s. Against a new, top-trim Toyota Camry costing similar money, the G80 is a larger, more powerful, more lavish sedan. But read the warranty carefully, because this is the catch. Genesis covers the powertrain for 10 years or 100,000 miles, but only for the first owner. On a private used sale, that long coverage does not follow the car. You inherit the balance of the 5-year, 60,000-mile basic warranty instead. Buy through Genesis Certified, which restores the long factory coverage. Avoid paying a premium assuming the 10-year warranty transfers privately. Last, a car that breaks this entire pattern. When this does not work. Now the honest part, because this idea has limits, and ignoring them is how people get burned. A used luxury car does not always beat a new Toyota. If you buy the wrong model year, skip the inspection, or land a car with chronic electrical or drivetrain gremlins, the repair column can swallow every dollar the depreciation saved you, and then some. Some luxury brands, especially certain European ones, carry parts and labor costs high enough that they lose this math outright, no matter how cheap they look on the listing. That is not an accident. It is why this list leans on cars with mainstream mechanicals, deep parts supply, and weak points that are documented and easy to screen for. The strategy is real, but it rewards patience over impulse. You are hunting the boring, fully documented example that someone babied and then sold at a loss, not the cheapest car on the lot with a story attached. Which brings us to the one that wins in a completely different way. Car number 7, Lexus SC 430, 2002 to 2010. Finally, the Lexus SC 430, 2002 to 2010. And it works differently from everything before it. The others are about buying after a steep fall. This one is about a fall that already finished. Once mocked at launch, this V8 hardtop convertible has become a stable cult classic, and clean, low-mileage cars now sit around $15,000 and hold there. That flips the math. While a new Toyota Camry keeps shedding value every year you own it, a well-kept SC 430 can be sold years later for close to what you paid, pushing your net cost of ownership toward the low end. The catches are mechanical. It uses a timing belt due around 90 to 100,000 miles, the folding roof motors can fail, and a leaking radiator can contaminate the transmission fluid. Buy a documented, low-mile car. Avoid one with cooling or roof neglect. So what ties all 7 together? Look back, and the trick is not luxury, and it is not even reliability. It is where each car sits on the cost curve and which lever it pulls. The G90 hands you a flagship after its collapse. The GX 470 borrows a Toyota truck's cheap servicing and parts. The TSX quietly lowers the insurance and maintenance lines. The G37 sells you performance the first owner's depreciation already paid for. The MDX undercuts a Highlander on price for the exact same family job. The G80 lets a factory warranty carry the risk, and the SC 430 simply stops falling, so the money stays in your pocket at resale instead of evaporating. 7 different cars, 7 different levers, one idea underneath all of them. The badge is not the cost. The cost is the total, added up over years, and a new Toyota only wins that total if you refuse to count past the sticker price. That is the quiet habit behind a lot of smart money. They do not ask what a car costs to buy, they ask what it costs to keep. Then they let everyone else pay full price to look new. Count the way they count, and the whole market looks different. And notice who this really serves. It is not car enthusiasts chasing badges. It is people who treat a car as an expense to be minimized, not a trophy to be financed. They buy the boring, documented example. They skip the first owner's depreciation, and they let the sticker price stay the other person's problem. None of these 7 is exotic. None requires insider access. The only thing separating the buyer who wins from the buyer who overpays is whether they added up the full column before they signed. So the lie was never that Toyotas are unreliable. They are genuinely excellent cars. The lie is that a new one is automatically the cheapest car to own. Total up every cost, and sometimes a used luxury car wins that number outright. So tell me one thing in the comments below. Which of these 7 would you actually trust with your own money, and which would you never risk at any price? I am reading every one of the replies. One recording note: the depreciation percentages and dollar figures are from iCars/KBB, and the failure points/warranty/recall facts are sourced, but used asking prices drift by region and month. Worth a 10-second check before you lock the VO. Want the per-sentence image/video prompts for this one next? Or a pinned comment plus description tuned to the which would you never risk debate?